Namaste, Neha. Welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. I am so great to have you here today. I'm thrilled. So, thank you for being here. And quickly, for the listeners and for the audiences, Neha is a life coach and therapist. She's, dedicated to helping women transform their self-concept and step into their most empowered selves. And, after spending years in corporate world, she discovered her true calling, guiding women to heal their past traumas and manifest abundance. So, through her coaching and healing programs, she helps women break free from limiting beliefs and redefine what's possible. And Neha believes that our self concept shapes every aspect of our lives, our relationships, success, confidence. So, today she's here to share powerful insights on inner healing, self worth, and aligned manifestation. So, get ready for an inspiring conversation. Neha, welcome to Sipping on Stories podcast. I am again thrilled to have you here today. First of all, tell us where you're joining us from.
Thank you, Serene. Very namaste from my side. So, I'm joining everyone from New Delhi, which is the capital city of India. And I am originally from Delhi only. I'm born and brought up here. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. What's one thing you love about Delhi?
Mm, I think it's the capital city. That's one thing which I always feel very proud of.
Okay.
And I love the food here. And I always enjoy shopping. And of course, I have my family here, I have my friends here. So I think belongingness is something which I really relate to when I think about this place.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Cheers to that. Thank you for sharing that. So Neha, we'll get straight into this. We met before this and you took me through what your personal journey has been like and why you're on this path. And it was quite inspiring, really. So, thank you for coming on board. So with your work, I know that it centers around self-concept. So how do you see this concept connecting to, the soul's journey and in the spiritual evolution?
So, Sahreen, we all have friends, we have relatives, where I have come to observe that the self-concept is a big problem. So, what is self-concept? Self-concept is basically knowing oneself at a deeper level, which a lot of people do not know. Like, we are in a rat race, or we are wives and we are just cooking, but we don't enjoy cooking. And
Mm,
what is it that we truly love? Who are we? Okay. And when you talk about spiritual journey and evolution connected to self-worth, I think it is very, very important to know yourself because then accordingly, you can choose the spiritual practices. You can also see what aligns with you and what truly makes you happy. Because after all, every single person, you ask a client, like, what do you want?
yep,
And they will say that I want to be happy. But it's very difficult for them to get specific because they yet do not know themselves.
yep,
Like, what is their concept of happiness? What do
yep.
they want? Do they want a good job? Do they want a good body? What do they want? So when you're connected with self-worth, self-concept, self-awareness, all of these things, things become very easy for you. You attract similar kind of things. You understand yourself better, which is the most important thing as per me.
Mm. And it's a very interesting concept because I feel like a lot of times we lie to ourselves, that we create and build these stories for ourselves that I'm like this, I'm like that. But in fact, if you kind of do the true self work and understand your true nature, you'll be shocked, I guess, where you've built these stories about yourself, they start to shatter, and I guess that's when the true growth begins. And I'm sure you would agree that self awareness plays a big part here. So I would love to kind of know your thoughts there, and because you laughed, so I think there's something I thought is something you want to share there.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So you know what? When if I talk about my own journey or even my client's journey, for example, I have been a very hyper independent girl who would often feel that, I do not want to take money from my husband
Mm,
and asking for money from my father, it becomes a task for me because, in my mind, I am that strong woman that, I cannot take from anyone and I'm empowered and all of these things. But if you look at it spiritually, I'm operating in a masculine mode, I'm not open to receiving,
Right.
right? Yeah. So, I had this thought that I cannot accept money from the males of my house because that will make me feel I am needy,
Mm,
right? And when you talk about this concept as spirituality, all the beings, whether it's a male or a female, we are a combination of energies, masculine and feminine. Masculine is about giving and feminine is about receiving. So I just completely got into the masculine mode. But
right.
then I started falling sick very often, and I would work with my therapist, and I would start thinking that what do I really want? And I realized that I really enjoy resting.
Mm,
I realized that I don't enjoy this hustle of corporate job. Like I have actually traveled through 9 months of my pregnancy, and my office was quite far. So, but still I did it because, I wanted to prove that yes, I am strong. I am like a Bond girl. But that's not how it goes. I was not in touch with myself, so I started falling sick, very, very often. So then I realized that there's something else, and all my reports were fine. So I realized that, I'm into this hustle mode, whereas a true part of me also wants to balance home and family, also wants to balance her own health.
yeah.
So this is what happens, when you get to know about what you really want, and so you start letting go of all the layers that you've been putting on just to pretend to the world.
Yeah, and the conditioning and all these concepts, it is very well ingrained in you, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I understand that, Neha, that healing, past traumas is a big part of your coaching as well. So, from a spiritual perspective, do you believe that these wounds carry like, karmic lessons, and, how can women actually shift them energetically?
Okay. So this is a lovely question, and I'll tell you something, Sahareen. Uh, See, when we talk about healing, okay, so healing can also be one of the karmic lessons for this life, which you have
Mm,
to do. So I really believe in karmic lessons and karmic debts and all of these things because your family, your brother, your parents, your partner, your in-laws, you have a karmic connection with all of them. Okay. And you would notice that, there will be some people in your life, or even it happens with me, that, suddenly I'm very much connected to a friend, or even a stranger suddenly becomes a friend. But once their role is over in our lives, okay, which we
mm,
don't know is over, but, from the divine, it is like, this is the only role that they had in our lives. And then suddenly, the contact breaks, and then you are not in touch at all.
yeah.
Right. And it's not like you have fought with each other, but it's just like, that person got busy, you got busy, and it just breaks and it's okay. And then, karmic lessons could be anything. Like, for example, a lot of clients who come to me, they're in toxic relationships.
Mm,
But when we look at it in a karmic cycle, we see that, before this relationship, they also had a toxic environment at home. They
mm,
had some toxic boss. They had, and so suppose, you move out of a toxic partner. Okay, it could be a
yeah.
relationship or marriage, and then you join a office, and there you meet a toxic boss. But
Mm,
at the core, that toxicity is trying to teach you something, maybe to speak up. We see all these women who feel very submissive, and they tell me that, Neha, I cannot speak up because my parents have told me that if I speak, then I'm not a good girl. And this is very typical to being in India, okay? However, so, she will meet this kind of a partner who would probably dominate her. And
mm,
then in the office, something wrong would happen. She'll not speak up. So, what is
mm,
the karmic lesson? What is the universe trying to teach? It is trying to teach you to take a stand for yourself. But to take a stand for yourself, you have to first erase the past memory that my father told me that good girls do not speak up. You have to, reparent yourself there. You have to erase that memory and create a new belief. And
mm.
then you can take a stand, and then, your confidence grows. So then every karmic lesson, once you learn, things will get better. But karmic lessons will keep on repeating unless you learn from it.
Yeah, I cannot agree more because I've
Mhm.
experienced the same exact, kind of situation that you've talked about. And there's, often we kind of take these challenges and we go like, oh my God, I can't deal with it. So I'd rather maintain peace and go with peace. but it doesn't work that way, as you said. Universe is always going to throw challenges your way. um, so yeah, beautifully put. Thank you
So,
for
hmm,
sharing that, really.
yeah,
And I
thank
guess,
you.
yeah, and I really believe that people should really start shifting their mindset, because every kind of challenge that they receive, instead of kind of going about like, oh my god, this is how it is, this is how I have been taught, and this is how the society works, you know and don't be a doormat. Start kind of
Yeah,
seeing the difference and standing up for yourself, and see what that less challenge is trying to teach you. So I guess not a lot of people, of course, they can't do this by themselves, and brilliant people like you for doing the divine work exists to help them and handhold them.
yeah,
So thank you for that. So I want to dive into a little bit into manifestation as well, Neha. So manifestation is often spoken in terms of mindsets, in terms of thoughts. So but how does aligned manifestation work on an energetic and spiritual level?
yeah. So manifestation is the buzzword which is running around since a lot of years now. However, manifestation, it just means that making your dream come to life.
Hmm.
If we talk about in a very layman language, and when you talk about manifestation, yes, thought work is very, very important. The way you think, it really impacts because the way you think, it will start impacting the way you feel. And then you take actions accordingly. However, the way you think is
Hmm.
being rusted by all the past memories, all the past packages. So if I dream to be so for example, right now my dream is to be one of the best life coaches and therapists in at least in this National Capital Territory region, okay, in the northern part of India, for example. However, if at the core I believe that I cannot speak up or I cannot show up, I cannot be authentic, right? So then I need to dig deeper that why cannot I speak up? Why is my confidence low? Was I bullied as a kid? Was I made fun of in school? And it is actually true because when I was born and till a good 9 or 10 years of age, I used to be like a public speaker and I would love to speak up. But over time, teenage happened, and I wasn't like the prettiest looking girl, and I was made fun of. So I lost my confidence, and then for a very long time, I couldn't I could get connected to the authentic part of me. Right. So this is where I would tell you that I think I lost a little bit of track in between. But what I was saying is that this is how the manifestation journey can be because at the core, when I was working in my corporate job, I used to think I want to do something of my own.
Hmm.
Okay, and now I'm only that. And I was doing my MBA and I took one subject as entrepreneurship because at the core, my dream was to be an entrepreneur, right? And I also thought about like how would it be that I am the first women entrepreneur of my family because I
Yeah.
have a huge family, like we are 15 to 16 cousins.
Yeah.
So but I couldn't do it. I couldn't manifest it till the time I did my thought work properly with further understanding that ये thought कहाँ से आ रहा है? From where is this thought coming?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how manifestation works. That you have to, even though you want it, but at the core you don't believe that you can do a certain thing. But
Hmm.
when we do the inner work, slowly we gain that confidence and we take small, small baby steps towards our dream, and then everything manifests. Yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Neha, I think at this point is a good time to kind of for me to ask you what your journey has been like, your personal journey, because I always believe, not I wouldn't say believe, but it's the truth really, because I have spoken to so many people, and it's so true, also for myself, also for my close ones, and when I see them, and everyone who's gotten into a path, into a spiritual path, or into some form of healing, they always have had a wake up call in the past. So what was your kind of wake up call? So I know that life is always throws challenges at you. You go through like a big roller coaster ride before you actually get into things where you feel like, oh my god, this is my soul's purpose. So what was your life journey like? What brought you into this?
Yeah. So if I have to really give a background, I had a wonderful childhood, but I often had times where I felt that my emotional needs were not being met by my parents, which is okay because, of course, now when I see it from a broader perspective, I know they had their own challenges, right?
Mm,
So I would on and off be like, sometimes happy, sometimes really low, and then I would take a lot of tension, and my confidence was low. I had a big, big amount of self-doubt. Like, self-doubt became like I would say it was a very big part of me. Okay.
mm,
And then, slowly things happened and I got married. But my true breakthrough was being a mother, right? Because before that, before being a mother, I was still feeling it's okay the way I am. Like it's really okay. Like I used to feel uncomfortable sometimes that, why am I so stressed? Why am I taking so much tension? But I was still okay. But when I had someone to look after, like, I have to look after a kid, then I realized that now I have to be really a different woman with my son so that I can raise him in a better way. So my healing started with his birth, I would say.
mm,
And it's not like I wasn't healing before. I was doing a lot of things, small, small things before, like puja and listening to bhajans and all of those things. But the true breakthrough happened when my son Hriday, he happened, and then I started seeking help. So even finding the right therapist is a task sometimes.
mm,
I went to counselors, and I they didn't resonate with me. Then I again went for online therapy, but even that did not work for me. So slowly I started, signing up for small, small self-development programs. From
mm,
a very small amount, I started, and then I started taking therapy. And of course, then COVID hit, which was a transformative period for so many people. I had to be at home all the time and work from home. And my son was not even 3 at that time.
mm.
Yeah. So then I realized, and then honestly, like I have a very wonderful partner, but being with the partner 24 hours a day is also becomes, something like, oh my God, it's too much. So, we start poking on very small things. So I realized, something I have to do. So slowly I started with some self-love things like, kabhi you put a nail paint or you start taking your own selfies, which you used to do as a college girl, but now you don't do,
Yeah.
right? Or simply wearing a pretty dress in the morning, or it could be anything. Like, I started these small things, like maybe going for walk or connecting with nature. I would start doing all of these things. And by then, a lot of my friends had already moved out of the city. So
Mm,
that also made me realize that I cannot keep cribbing and nagging to my friends,
right.
because they did not have any valuable suggestions to give me, even though they wanted to support me. So I
Mm,
took, so then I went for my own inner child healing and intergenerational trauma healing. And I would never hesitate to spend money on these things, honestly. And I never thought that, I have to, so many women want to hide it from their partners. But I never did that. I was like, if he accepts, okay. If he doesn't accept, then also it's okay. Because it is
I
required for me,
love that.
right? It is, yeah. So it's required for me that I want to heal. And then slowly things happened, Sahreen. And then the 2023 year was the most difficult one for me because back to back I was falling sick. And, I was living in here in Delhi, and but my main office was in Mumbai.
Right.
And but slowly I was getting hints from my own intuition that, this job is not going to work for a long time. And yeah, towards the end of the year, they just randomly said that, you have to join Mumbai in 3 days. So I resigned. And but this time I decided that let's try something new.
Mm,
I decided to give myself 6 months of time, and since then things are really better. It's been almost more than a year now. So I would say that journey is never like, you will suddenly reach the destination. No, it's a beautiful journey for everyone to, everyone's spiritual journey could be different. And but one should never hesitate in investing in all of these things, because you really get in touch with who you really are, and people around you will really feel very happy later on. Like initially they would not agree with you, but when they see the changes in you, you're happier, and the house is well maintained, and I'm able to take pick my son from the bus stop,
mm.
and I can teach him in my own way, or cook
Yeah.
something for him or play with him. Me and my son sometimes we do sit and do coloring, which I could never imagine doing in the past because I was busy.
Right. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I think there's a very powerful message in what you just described, Neha, and I just wish that everyone takes that message on board. And it's just not only for the women out there, even for the men. I guess this is for everyone, for every human, right? To feel happy, to feel that connection with your loved ones. So I think, and you said self improvement. I think that's so important, and one kind of fails to kind of look into it because we feel like it's not that important. I think it is, and we just get so caught up with our lives. We are going to work, we're coming back, we're cooking, looking after the house, we're going to bed, and so I think self improvement a really is really important, and I have realized that with my own kind of life, with my own experience as well. So thank you for putting out there. And the other thing I want to ask you, Neha, is that many women, or even I will just maybe generalize it also, because
Yeah.
many people feel like they're stuck in their old patterns of self doubt and fear. So, what role does intuition play in, breaking free, and how can someone actually strengthen and connect to their own intuition?
Okay, this is such a lovely question, and this is so important, Sahareen. This reminds me of a conversation which I was having with a client yesterday. So she calls up, and she's with this toxic boyfriend who's restricting her, like, don't go for movies, don't talk to friends, cancel your tickets to your best friend's wedding, and don't take up this job. Even if you work after wedding, you have to do a work from home.
Mm,
All of these things. The point here is that I asked her that, what do you feel about it?
mm,
So at the core, she knows that, this is not the person whom I can marry. But there were so many fears. Like every time I would tell her that, this is not your path, she would come up with, but ma'am, this is happening. She wanted to take a validation from me. So why I'm telling about this example is that each one of us can connect to the highest power and to our intuition, because our intuition comes from our body and the body never lies. And even falling in love starts from that intuition that maybe we will connect better, or even making friends for that matter. So somewhere a lot of us are already being connected to our emotions, but when
mm,
it comes to taking certain uh, you know uh, trusting our intuitions, but sometimes when we have to take a stronger step, that is when we tend to ignore our intuition.
uh,
And women come to me and they say that, Neha, I saw the red flags beforehand only. Still, I married to this person. That means you do not trust your intuition, sorry, right? And when you're not doing that, then you're betraying your own self. I would say that it's a self-sabotage.
mm,
And I have experienced that once you're connected very well to your own body, to your own feelings, then the intuition becomes so strong that I can actually sometimes I get an intuition that now my son is about to fall and he falls down before I can take an action. So this is just an example. And even like I was talking about this job thing which happened with me. So at the core, I knew that one day they're going to tell me to come to Mumbai, right?
mm,
I had this intuition that something like this will happen, and it actually happened, but I kept ignoring it for a very long time, right?
mm,
So intuition, we all of us have that power of intuition, or some people call it, you activate your third eye chakra. So all of these things are really true. We cannot ignore them, and I think now even the Western people, people in the West are also believing in all of these things, because I'm connected. I'm a part of a lot of groups. People are believing in all of these things. They are
mm,
getting more spiritually inclined,
yeah.
and one should at least not try to ignore the intuition, because sometimes it is very illogical, but it is right. And how can we make our intuition strong is through connecting with our body. And the easiest way to connect with your body is to deep breathe, like,
Mm,
inhale and exhale slowly as many times during the day as you can, and center yourself. So that it really helps to build up that intuition that, yeah, even I can sense what is going to happen, and it happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's very important, I feel, because I've been trying to practice, a way to kind of, listen to my inner voice. So there's one beautiful lady who told me this, and it stuck with me for many, many years. Like, start with small things. When you wake up in the morning, maybe you can ask yourself, do you want to drive to work or do you want to catch the train? or do you want to have tea or coffee? Like start with small things and see what your inner intuition, your inner voice, your intuition
Mm.
tells you. So when you start doing it with small things, when it actually comes to taking a big step, a big decision, things become easier. So I think that I say this. I think my listeners are already tired of listening to this because I say it in almost every episode. But this is so much. It's just stuck with me, and the more I say it, I feel like the more people will know about it. So, and I've loved that, and I always kind of do that. Um, and one more thing, Neha, that I wanted to kind of point out is that we talked about how people when they face challenges because they may be karmic lessons they want to learn. I think one thing I would love for my listeners and or viewers to know is that when universe kind of throws a challenge at you, it also provides you the strength to overcome it, right? So I'm sure you've experienced it yourself, and I also talk with personal experience. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there. So what's your kind of take on that?
I absolutely agree with this. It's 110% true. One of my clients, she lost her husband a few months ago, and of course, she was sad, but more than her being sad, I was feeling sad for her. But you know what I saw in her instantly, in within 2, 3 days, she suddenly got all the strength because she had to at least manage the business which was left behind by the husband. And she has 3 kids, and so I was also shocked. And then I told her that, I know you have a big, big loss, but God is also giving you the strength to, try to meet this huge challenge, which is a loss for you. Or it could also be in a good way. For example, you get an opportunity to travel abroad, and you have never traveled abroad. You have never taken a flight, but in the flight, you will find someone who's ready to help you.
Mm,
So some way the help would come. This is something which I truly believe because I've studied in the other city. I have my first job was in Mumbai, right? But I've always seen that in the most, and I have had a lot of challenges, by the way, when I was doing my first job in Mumbai, because I had a tough time with my roommates and it was very challenging. But I have noticed that even in the worst scenarios, I was being protected, and and if no external person is coming to protect me, I had that intuition that you know that what I have to like. There was this one episode. It was very scary, where so it's a long story, but I'll not make it that long. It was 4 a.m. in the morning, and something spooky kind of thing happened. So I just ran out of the flat, and it was a new PG where I was staying. Like it was just
mm.
my first day there,
Oh.
and but at 4 a.m., something happened, and I could have got into a very, very difficult situation. But something came to my mind, and I called my parents at that time to take their guidance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there only there was this guard sitting, the society guard sitting there, and my father spoke to him, and he took care of me till the morning,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was something really weird because there was another roommate of mine. She also
Mm-hmm.
left with me, and
Right.
suddenly two guys came that you come along with us. Those
Mm-hmm.
were her friends, but I sounded like it sounded fishy to me that what if I go with them and it's not safe? So I
Mm.
chose to sit there, the guard.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't easy, right? Spending 2, 3 hours in the night with a guard, but something inside me guided me that, I can face this challenge on my own. And I would say that, universe sent that guard to protect me that way. Otherwise, who knows what can happen in a city like Mumbai or in Delhi, where, so I really believe, and everybody who comes across a challenge, they should see it as what can we learn from it
Yes.
rather than thinking in a negative way that why this
Mm.
happened, what can I learn from it, and then move on. And
Yeah.
trust me, the more we trust, the more universe trusts in us, and we'll always find someone to. Because I'll tell you, Shireen, even this podcast happened to me because I was thinking, one day I want to be in a podcast, and now the podcasts are going around all the way, and this suddenly came to me, right? That the way we spoke and we connected, and I really liked the way you do it. So I said, yeah, this is like perfect for me. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Neha. And with that, whatever you said, I feel like, faith, we need to really have faith. And sometimes you said there's no logic with intuition. There's a very famous movie dialogue. I do not know which Bollywood movie this is from, but it says there's no logic, but it's only magic, in certain things. So I totally believe that, because I've had that in my own personal experience as well. So really, thank you for sharing with your story. And I always believe that when you kind of connect, tell your own personal story, and your challenges and how you overcame it, it's nothing more beautiful, right? And that's the kind of impact it'll have on our listeners and viewers. And my hope is that they get inspired by this and start, heading in the right direction. So that's my only wish. So I think with this, Neha, the one last question I want to ask you for this episode is, you help women rewrite their stories. So what spiritual practices or rituals do you recommend to help someone, step into their most empowered and abundant self?
Yeah. So there are, I would right now, so there are a lot of things which one can do, but I would give three things which one can do which are not expensive, which you can do anytime, and they're really good. So first would be deep breathing, like I mentioned, because our lungs are not used properly, and we breathing is something which we do 24 hours, but we are not connected with it.
Mm,
Okay. So whether you are going to enter into a reading room, or you can simply start by attaching deep breathing with your meal times. Like, before lunch, I have to take 3 deep breaths. So just do it. You know, inhale, count four, hold, count four, and exhale, count four. So take those 3 deep breaths before your breakfast, before your lunch, before your dinner, and before you sleep. And
mm,
slowly, you'll really feel that kind of a relief when you deep breathe, like take a deep breathing. It's really beautiful. It's amazing. I do it all the time. The second thing I would say is journaling. Okay. I can speak for hours on journaling, and getting journaling prompts can be as easy as simply asking the chat GPT to help you.
mhm,
For example, I'm feeling very angry, so I can ask chat GPT to give me some prompts, and I can start journaling. So just make a diary where you keep writing all your thoughts.
mm,
And the one thing is, if your thoughts are negative, so write down your thoughts and then you burn the paper.
okay.
This will help you to release a lot of negative emotions.
Mm,
This will help you to release your resentments, your anger, and you can use it for self-confidence. Like, I'm feeling very low confidence. I can write that what have been the most successful moments of my life, and I can journal about that event. So the good things, you don't have to burn it. Keep it there, reread it, you know, because it really helps during your low times. You read that and yeah, I did this before and I can do it now.
mm,
Right? So negative and positive journaling both help in their own beautiful ways, and everybody must do it. If not every day, then probably start with once a week, or and slowly increase
mm,
the frequency. And the third thing, which I would say, is gratitude practice. Okay, so because you asked me just about empowered self, start practicing gratitude to your own self.
mm,
Okay, like pay gratitude to your eyes. I mean, a lot of people do not have eyes. So, I'm so grateful that I have eyes because I can see Saharine right now on the screen, right? And say thank you for your body, because no matter what size you are, your body is still serving you since the time you were born, right? So whenever you feel like, I am fat, I don't have a good body image issues, you know, so journal about your body,
mm. Yeah,
journal and pay gratitude. Like, basically write good things about your body. How is it serving you? Like, pick up each body part,
yeah,
your heart, your lungs, your brain, everything. So yeah, these are the three: by deep breathing, journaling, and gratitude practice.
yeah. And I think the fourth thing I'll add to it is being disciplined about it. Like, do it every day, no
Yes.
matter what. No matter what, do it. And I think this
Mm-hmm.
is for my own self. I have seen that when I got into a certain spiritual practice, it you need to do it for years, you need to do it for months and days, and you until you kind of get into that routine, it becomes a part of you, and only then you start seeing the differences and changes in and around you. So So that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Neha, for sharing that.
Thank you.
It has been, a very, powerful episode, I think, and with so much information just packed into this. So thank you so much for coming on Sipping on Stories again. I'm so grateful for you and for the work that you do. So keep doing the divine work, and I wish you all the best. So before we leave, Neha, if you have any final message for the audiences, for the listeners, please go ahead. It could be a favorite quote that you go by or anything that you would wish to say.
First, I would like to thank you, Sahareen, for this wonderful opportunity because I love to really inspire people with my own journey because I'm just an ordinary girl and my story would resonate to a lot of people, but not everybody actually takes an action and changes the story, right? So I really am so thankful to have this platform where I could speak up. And if I have to give one message, there's an affirmation which I all the time use it for my own self. I have got a fridge magnet for that, and that is you are enough. I would like to say this to everyone because a lot of times we feel that we are not enough. We are not good enough. We are not this, we are not that. But cut everything and just write you are enough and put it on your phone wallpaper, put it everywhere till it gets embodied into you. But yes, anybody who's listening, believe me, you are enough. And if you want, anytime you can connect me. I always take the first call free. So, just connect me and you'll feel wonderful also after one call. Because I just don't like ladies to be in the victim mode. So always tell yourself, you are enough. Yeah,
Mm.
that's it.
Love it. Love it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Neha. I will link your information in our description box below for the listeners who have resonated and connected with you. They will absolutely, if they feel like reaching out, they can reach out to you. And I want to make this
Yeah.
platform in a way that people can connect with each other, connect
Yes.
so we can, obviously help each other and grow and just spread the love. That's my tagline. I love spreading the love. I love it. I love it. Love spreading the love. So thank you so much again
Yeah.
for coming on Sipping on Stories.
Thank you, Saharin. Thanks a lot.